Welcome to Mama Tales, a podcast that celebrates our collective motherhood journey. I'm your host, Sally Kuria. If this is your first time listening, karibu sana. I hope that this podcast feels like home. Remember to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search for Mama Tales Podcast and you're in. I also publish a bi-monthly newsletter which features personal essays, ideas, and highlights from the podcast and the community around it. It is open to contributors, so if you have an idea, a thought, or a story you'd want to write and share with this community, just let me know by reaching out to me on email or replying to any published issues. You can find links to all of this in the show notes of this episode. Lastly, I am on a recording spree. So, do you have a story you'd like to share on the podcast, or do you have a topic you'd like explored? Just let me know by filling in the two forms that I've shared in the show notes of this episode as well. If this week's episode will not have you laughing and feeling sad at the same time, then you're probably listening to it wrong. This week, I share Masi Mandela's story. One thing we've learned along the way is raising kids and building a family is expensive. It can take a toll on you, on your relationship with your partner, or on the things that you care about. One of the last things you want to think about after giving birth to your first son is job security. When Masi left her little 3-month-old boy back home to go to work, the last thing she expected to hear was that she was getting laid off. Take a listen to this.
I go back the first week. So I'm like, okay, I'm back. How have things been? What do you want me to do? No one is giving me work to do. I have a new manager, but they're just like, yeah. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Because I can see there's work going on. I can see we have clients. I can see, but nothing is coming onto my tree. So fast forward to now, the second week, I'm called into a meeting with HR and the department head. And so they're like, yeah, Masi, welcome back. What's going on here? It's like, oh yeah, so I think there's a time when I was pregnant, there was a time they had laid off a few guys because of redundancy, blah blah blah. So I was like, that's the card they're gonna play. I was just thinking now, and I was also in school, and at this point, my husband didn't have a job, and I've just lost my job. And you have a 3-month-old.
I am excited for you to listen to that episode. I think I learned so much about resilience and trusting your gut. But before we get there, it's time for that highlight of the week. This little nugget of time where we look back and think about the moments that have brought us a sense of joy and pride as parents. Picking up Keo from school is my responsibility. My husband drops her off in the morning, and it's my job to ensure that she's home in the afternoon. Yesterday, as I was getting into the car to go pick her up, I looked at my son and his nanny and randomly asked them to come with me. I had a quick thought that my daughter might enjoy seeing her brother there since it was out of the ordinary. So in the car we went and we go to the school to pick her up. When she saw her brother, she ran to him, gave him a hug, and took him inside to show him all the toys that she plays with, what she drew that day, her teachers, the playground, the slides, the swings, everything. Like, she wanted him to do everything. He followed her closely, holding her hand, and if he ran off, which, he does all the time, she would chase after him and try and guide him back. To be honest, watching this melted my heart. When we got home, I asked her if she'd be okay taking him to school with her one day. She said yes. He still has a long way to go before he joins her, but I think that little moment showed me that, hey, finally, they're becoming friends. When I see them holding hands and do something together, I begin to understand that they have each other's back, and nothing could make me prouder as a parent. Got a highlight that you would like to share? Let me know by sending me a voice note or a message on my Instagram. I'll be sure to check it out. So, let me introduce you to Masi Mandela. She's the wife to Lely Mandela, a mom to 2 kids who she homeschools, and an author. One day, as she was at work implementing on a client's project, someone offered her a piece of cake.
It was actually a cupcake. When I bit into that thing, I felt like throwing up. I was like, what is happening? This has never happened with cake before. I'm not like a cake fan, but honestly, it's just cake. It should be good. But man, I felt so bad. I felt nauseated. Just like, oh, I can't eat this thing. And then I remembered, wait, I mean, I'd been feeling this way, not to that intensity, like the whole week. So I thought maybe it's because we're eating food at the clients. And I'm not used to that food. Maybe that's why I brushed it off, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I could be pregnant. So I remember that day, I just called my friend. Didn't even call her, no, I texted her, told her, because we used to live around the same area. I told her, when you're coming home, please come with a pregnancy test. And that was it. I didn't tell her anything more. She was like, are you I'm like, come without pregnancy test. Don't ask me questions. And the only reason I asked her to bring is because I knew I wouldn't be passing a chemist when I was going home. Yeah, so fast forward, following morning, did the test. Because I checked online, they're like, the best time to check is in the morning when it's fresh, fresh pee, and you can pee on the stick and, you know, get your results. So the whole night I was just like, when is it gonna be morning? And I didn't tell my husband. I wanted to be sure first before I tell him, because maybe too got malaria, I'm a stomach upset. I bet it was just the food.
Yeah, and then you guys are getting so excited
And we had not planned, so yeah. At this point I'm just like, where? Because this is first year of marriage. We had plans, okay? We had plans, friends, we had plans. We were going to stay like 2 years and then on the third year, get pregnant. But here we are pregnant. So I'm just like, wowzers. Yeah, so I was excited. I was happy, of course, to be carrying a baby. But then I was also anxious because it's like, wow. Guy, we don't even have this marriage thing figured out, because sometimes year one can be the ghetto because we're trying to figure each other out. You know, you've been dating, and first we'd been dated for like 4 years, but then when you get married and start living with someone, it's a whole other thing. You'd start knowing each other in a different way. And so we're just like, what? How are we gonna do this figuring each other out plus our baby in the mix? Yeah. So I think it was excitement for, yay, we're gonna get a baby, because we wanted to have children, but it just wasn't, quote unquote, the right time in as far as we were concerned. Gosh, let me tell you, after I realized I was pregnant, it's like my body was just like, now had gotten the permission to I couldn't keep anything down. I literally couldn't keep anything down. I was puking so much. Like, there's nothing that I could eat, especially first trimester, that would stay down. And I remember my doctor telling me, okay, Mercy, now we want you to eat anything. And by anything, she meant anything. It doesn't matter if it's healthy or not healthy. Like, you know, they were telling you, don't eat grab when you're... She's just like, Atakamani crips. If that's what stays down, please. Because I was losing weight. I kept losing weight. And she's just like, hey, I'm a bit concerned about this, about your weight. So whatever you can find to eat, eat. So eventually we did find something to eat after month 3. Ugali, skuma, nyama. It's all I wanted to eat. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Yeah, and then maybe uji. Yeah, at some point, first trimester, I also liked uji. Did I get cravings? Yes, but I just told my body, imagine. I am the boss of you. We will not bow down to cravings and such. Yeah, so I didn't indulge so much into my cravings. I just told myself, Appa, you need some self-control, because I wanted cheese and milk and milk products. Fast forward to the baby being born, I understood why. Because he really loves milk. Yeah.
When things with her body started settling down, Mercy did all she could to prepare herself for the birth of her son.
I've gone for Lamas. I have done my Google. I've been on Baby Center. I've been on every center possible, online digging and stuff. Yeah. So I think mentally, I was prepared. I think we were both prepared. Actually, the Lamas really helped. We had it with a lady called Nerea. And she was really good because she helped both my husband and I, just get into the frame of mind of understanding what's going on right now as I'm pregnant and what's going to happen when it gets to the time that we need to deliver. So we're pretty prepared. And I remember we had like Braxton Hicks, and I knew those are Braxton Hicks. And then now, the morning when the actual contraction started, I just knew this one. It's today. It's today. I remember waking my husband up and telling him, I've been up for a while and I've been tracking these contractions and they're rhythmic. And she's like, oh yeah, I get you. So do we go? And I'm like, Bado, it's not as intense and they're still far apart. Look at us knowing. Yeah, but it's because of the Lamas. Thank God. Because I think I would have panicked. Would have left the house so early, and I'd have been in the hospital for so long, waiting for the baby to come. So I remember even that day, I took him for a haircut. We went, got a haircut. We went for a whole walk. Came back. I think we made. What did we do? We did things. Just waiting for it and waiting for the contractions to be now like really close together and stuff like that. And when it got there, I was just like, yeah, babe, it's time. Let's go. So yeah, I feel like we were prepared in that sense. What we were not prepared for, however, is the pain. Oh my God, no one can prepare you for that pain. And some people don't experience the pain. Bless. Oh, bless. But then for me, it was really, really, really painful. And I remember like when we got to hospital, it was so intense. They had to put me on medication to help with the pain. And unfortunately, that medicine had put me on the bed. So I had to labor in bed, which was the worst. Like, so you remember we've done Lamas, yeah. So we know we have to squat, we have to walk, we have to guy. Now I can't because I'm on the bed, and that's where I'm laboring from, and it's so intense. And then the medicine they had given to help with the pain made me nauseous. I'm just like,
It's getting bad.
yeah. And then now the contractions are coming in quickly. And for some reason, I know the reason why, now that I think about it. Like I was telling the nurses, friends, this child is coming. Like I can feel this child is coming. Based off what I know, I can tell. And they're like, huyu ni mtoto wako wangapi? I'm like, it does not matter. But to them it matters because when they're taught, I think they're told if it's a first time, then it takes a while for them to dilate, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this child is coming. So it took, because I was in bed and I couldn't just keep pressing and telling them, come. Yeah. My mother-in-law at least had come, and she just went and told them, check this chick. Because the pain she's in and the way she's behaving, I think this child is coming. And it took her advocating for me, after me advocating for myself to do for how long, for them to come check. And come check, I'm at 8. Wow. As in, yeah. Pretty much. Yes. Yeah. So, my God, that was interesting. So by this time they called my doctor. By the time we're going to the delivery room, the baby is here, anakuja. And at that point, so we're in the delivery room, and the doctor starts pushing some button, and I see people coming in. I'm like, what's going on? Why are there so many people here? What is happening, friends? There shouldn't be this many people in a room. One person is giving birth to one child, and you're all here like this. Something is off. So I think the first person who came in was a ped, and then nurses, and I don't even know. There were so many people in that room. And I'm pushing, and my doctor tells me, Mercy, I need you to turn. I was on my back, and it's like, I need you to turn. I'm like, okay, sawa, but what's going on? And we turn, few seconds later, baby is out. So much pain. Alafu Kai, Akibat nurses, God bless them. I hear one of them saying, sasa huyu anakataa kupush, anataka mtoto azaliwe aje. I'm like, friends,
that's not it. It's really not.
I do not know how to push. I've never pushed before in my life. You know. Good. She didn't say it like in the room, but she said it outside, but I could still hear her. And I was just like, wow, encouragement much.
I know. Oh my God. So horrible.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, now baby is out, but baby's not crying. I was like, what's going on, friends?
Yeah, that's right.
This way, we have so many people in this room. And so I asked my husband, is the baby okay? He's like, yeah, baby is fine. Like, why is the baby not crying? Baby is fine. What is happening? Yeah. Baby is fine. I'm like,
Tell me the truth.
Kuna kitu. Just tell me what is going on. Yeah, I just, no one tells me anything. After a while, I'm told, Mercy, here's your baby. Like, literally, they picked the baby up. Like, I'm laying over there. Showed me, Mercy, here's your baby. From afar.
Yeah.
They put the baby in an incubator or sijui what, and rolled the baby away. Wow. I'm like, what is happening? Someone tell me what in the world is happening. They tell my husband, we'll need you to escort the baby, just go see where the baby is being taken to. As I'm asking my doctor, Ninini, tell me something. He's like, no, don't worry, the baby is fine. They're just going to check up on him. Yeah, but I need you to just relax. Alafu, I need to stitch because she had to cut. I need to stitch, make sure you're fine, and then we're going to take you to the baby. I'm like, okay. So I stay in the room. She finishes, get cleaned up, Nini, and then now I'm fine as anyone can be at that point, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so where's my baby? Like, yeah, your baby is in the NICU and I see you. I'm like, what? Why? Why is the baby in the NICU? Okay, can I see my baby? Like, no, you'll see the baby in the morning. So this is, I gave birth to King at 12:23 a.m. So this is around 2-something a.m. And I'm being told you'll see the baby in the morning. By this time, my husband has come back. So I'm asking, what's up? Why was the baby taken away? Where was he on oxygen? All this stuff. Yeah, so at that point, he just tells me when he was born, he wasn't breathing. Just was not breathing. He had already turned blue and everything. So there are these numbers they give you to check the oxygen levels, blah, blah, blah. I took a photo, sent to my sister. My sister is a midwife. It's like, yeah, those numbers are really bad. They're really, really bad numbers. And so my husband tells me, at that time he was just telling me, baby is fine, baby is fine. He was praying and telling God, there's no way this child is going to die on us. I speak life to this child. He will come back from the dead and he will live, because how can we carry this child to term and then lose him today when it's supposed to be his birthday? And so he was praying, and the moment he finished praying is when the baby actually cried, and they showed me, and all that thing happened. Like, he told me they've said he's going to be in there for like, it was supposed to be 3 days. He was supposed to be there for 3 days. So I'm just like, wow, okay, this is not fun. This is what am I supposed to do? Because, oh my God, already your body feels like you've been hit by a truck, okay? And then you can't even see the baby. Hey, it was hard. So at 3, everyone had to leave. So I was left there. I slept. They're telling me I'm seeing the baby in the morning. I was up at 6, if you can believe it. Yeah. So I'm like, it's morning. Can you take me to my baby? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, madam, si saizi ni mapema sana. So you'll just go freshen up. Make sure you've peed. Make sure you showered. It's like, I don't care about these things. You do not understand. I want to see my child. I gave birth to this child and I have not laid my eyes on this child. I was Kama Lion King. Like, from across. Like, here's your child. What do you mean? Yeah. I want to go now. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, they said Z. So I was like, okay. Yeah. So I went, took a shower. Aki, but my body is just wah, guy, in pain, tired, nini. But I'm just like, okay, if this is what I need to do to see my baby, then I guess I'm gonna do that. So finished up. But they're like, okay, no, no, can I go? Like, no, have breakfast. I'm like, I don't want breakfast. Is it that I'm speaking a different language? I really don't understand. Yeah. So, anyways, I had to wait. I had to date. I don't know what I had to wait for. I don't know why 8 was the magical hour to go see them. I don't know if they closed and like I don't understand why I had to wait till 8 to be wheeled there to see the baby. But anyway, 8 a.m. Finally, they're like, yeah, come, we can take you see the baby. So they wheeled me all the way there because it was a bit far from where the maternity wing was. They've changed that since because it doesn't make sense. Yes, but anyway, they took me there and excuse me, I got to see him. He was still in an incubator. I asked, can I pick him up? I was told he's supposed to be in here for a while. He's like, yeah, actually, he's responded very well. So you can pick him up and you can remove him. It's just like, wow, thank you, Jesus, you know. So I picked him up. Like, yeah, you can feed him. So yeah, I met him not the following day because the day starts at midnight, but still feels like following day.
Despite those tense earlier moments, everything else went well. She learned how to breastfeed her son and how to give him a bath before they were discharged. She was finally settling into motherhood with all its aches and pains and soreness, the fatigue, the lack of sleep, everything. In due time, she got used to it. She found her rhythm, and then it was time to go back to work. When I asked her if she was excited to go back, this is what she said.
No, and yes.
That's so relatable. It's so relatable on so many levels.
No and yes. Yeah. No and yes. I wanted to go back to work because I mean there's still something I have to offer to the world. There's still something I want to continue learning. There's still something I want to continue doing just for me and just for the betterment of those around me and the world. But I didn't want to leave my baby. I didn't want to leave my baby. I was just like, gosh, we've just gotten a rhythm, friends. 3 months, not enough. No, can we go back after 1 year, perhaps? Maybe there. At least you've gotten some time. Not enough, but at least you've gotten some time to know this person. Because the way I look at children, it's like a new little friend. Yeah. So you're learning each other. You're learning each other. You're learning what you like, what you don't like, what you prefer, and all that. So you're learning each other. And then it felt like 3 months was so little, and we were just getting a rhythm. So I was just like, man, I really don't want to go back to work. But I remember, I think it was the last month before I went back to work, I had a dream. And in that dream, I can't remember the exact details, but in that dream, I knew that when I go back, soon after I'd leave that place. Yeah, soon after I'd leave the place. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I remember telling my husband about it, and it's like, I have a feeling, I know that when I go back, I won't stay there for long. And it got me thinking about like some time back, I remember wanting to quit my job at the place where I was at. I was looking to go to another place of employment, blah, blah, blah. And God was like, no, it's not yet time. I'll let you know when it's time to move. And I was like, God, Mimi, personally, I am tired. Okay, I want to move jobs. And God is like, no, it's not yet time. There's a level of provision, or there are things that I will still want you to learn when you're still at this place of work. And I was like, okay, I guess I have to obey. So I stayed. And after I got that dream, I was like, God, is this the time? Is this what you're telling me, that now it's time to actually leave this place? And how is it going to be? So Yeah, fast forward, I go back and I think I'd sit for like 2 weeks. No, 1 week. And then the second week, I was called into, let me, I go back the first week. So I'm like, okay, I'm back. Hey, how have things been? What do you want me to do? No one is giving me work to do. I have a new manager, but they're just like, yeah. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Because I can see there's work going on. I can see we have clients. I can see, but nothing is coming onto my tree. So what's happening here? And I felt a certain type of way. I'm like, is it that this manager doesn't like me because he was a new manager? Yeah. Like, what is going on here? I So fast forward to now the second week. I'm called into a meeting with HR and the department head. And so they're like, yeah, Mercy, welcome back.
Oh, so it sounds like it will end well.
I
Okay,
like,
uh-huh.
I like,
Okay, I'm back.
I'm back.
Uh-huh.
What's going on here? It's like, oh yeah. So I think there's a time when I was pregnant. There was a time they had laid off a few guys, because of redundancy, blah blah blah. So I was like, that's the card they're gonna play. I can you smell something too. It's just like yeah. So and that's the card they played. So I was just like, okay, okay, okay. But at this point, I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. Because God had prepared me. Yeah. But I still didn't appreciate how they went about it. I know, I think looking back, the only reason they didn't terminate my contract with them is because I was pregnant. So they were waiting for me.
So you go through pregnancy,
Yes.
you go take your maternity,
Yes.
and then now they do you.
Yes.
Long game. Oh. So it's like trying to avoid any lawsuits that could
Yeah,
come.
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So when we were sitting there, I said, okay, so why? And they're like, no, it's just redundancy, nothing to do with your performance. No. It's just the position has become redundant. I'm like, yeah. So that's how my going back to work looked like. That's how my going back to work looks like. I think honestly, at on one level, I was pissed off at the way they went about it. Was just like, you guys were just, as you said, waiting for me to come back for you to let me go only because you are avoiding a lawsuit. Because how do you fire someone when they're pregnant? So da, 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 da. But this is not any better when someone just comes back and they're trying to get back into, I don't say get back into the game because it's a maternity leave. It's something you are entitled to. You should not be laid off because you had a child. Like, what's up with that? Yeah. So in that aspect, it just felt a certain type of way. But on the other hand, I think because God had prepared me for it, I was just like, okay, Sarah, this is okay. Like, what's the plan now? Because now we have a baby. And babies can be expensive because there's diapers, there's so many things, childcare and all that. Yeah. So I was just thinking now, and I was also in school. Yeah, I was also in school. So I was just like, wow, what are we gonna do? And at this point, my husband didn't have a job, and I've just lost my job. And you have a 3-month-old. So I go back home and I tell him, yeah. So that dream, you remember that dream? Yeah. I'm out of work. Of course, you're gonna pay severance pay, but severance can only do so much. Mm. So here we are trying to figure things out. But and the thing they usually tell you is like, oh, now that we have all your details, we can always look for work for you. I'm like, they never look for. No, I don't think they do.
Leave the office and they're like, okay, bye.
Mm,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so horrible.
And even like the package they'd given me, when I looked at it, it was just like some things are off here. They tried to like reduce the amount they're supposed to give me. I had to involve a lawyer.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Wow.
For them to pay me my actual severance pay. And I'm just like, why?
Why are you trying to be shifty?
Why?
Yeah,
Like it's so uncalled for. Of course, we're like, okay, we are living in a rented house. Let's at least pay some rent as we try to figure out what to do. And stocked up on food. Started selling earrings. I was selling earrings when I was in uni, just for pocket money, blah blah blah. It's like you don't have to,
Yeah.
but it's extra money, so why not?
Yeah.
So this time I'm like, yeah, we need money for food. This one,
These earrings matter more. Oh my god.
yeah. So I'm still going to school because I was doing my masters then. Still going to school, so I need the fare. I learned how to braid my own hair because you're broke.
If ever there's a time was to have a child, it is this exact moment.
But let me tell you, Sally, eh, God takes care of his own. That's what I can say. Imagine someone's just like, okay, I'm gonna pay rent for you guys until one of you gets a job. So that's rent covered. So you just need to figure out food and diapers. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember, but I can't. But we got through it, Sally. We got through it. And the best part is we both got to be home for 9 months with this baby. So at month 9, so at this time I've been applying for jobs, blah blah blah, and then one of them just calls back. They're like, yeah, let's do an interview. Where I did like CG5 interviews with this guy. And I'm like, is this going anywhere, friends? Because hey, yeah, and eventually they called me. The last interview was an in-person interview, so I went. The last 2 were in-person interview. The first 3 were written, then telephone, then hey gosh, an online one. Wow, yeah, and then now the last 2 were in person. So I remember even going for the last interview, and oh my god, on that day they decided CG to make the road or CG to do what. So Sally, let me tell you, I was late.
Oh gosh, that's the thing you don't want.
I was late for that interview, and I had exact cash. Okay, I had exact cash for. So remember, we have no jobs. I had exact cash for a mat to get there and to come back home. Now I'm in Westie. I need to get there, and traffic is from here CG to where. So I had to get. Did I get a cab or did I? Yeah, I got a cab from Westie. I didn't see how much traffic there was. So I got a cab from Westie. We're going to the office and we're stuck in traffic, and I'm like, my God, what am I going to do? So this time also, like, you remember it was when the cabs had just started coming into Kenya, those that Uber, whatever business had started coming to Kenya. So the more you stay, the more you accrue. I was like, my God. So I'm here asking the cab guy, ni mbali sana kutoka hapa? Ninaweza kutembea? Like, madam, no, relax. You don't understand. You do not understand. So anyway, eventually we get there. I pay him. Nah, I pay everything I had. So I don't have fare back home. I get there, do the and then luckily this traffic affected everyone. So even the people who were interviewing me had literally gotten to the office 2 minutes before I did. And they're like, no, don't worry, it's fine. She was so kind. I was just like, there is no way. This is natural. This had to be a God thing. Yeah. So God takes care of his own. So I do the interview, they like me, they're like, yeah, mm, we're gonna have you. This is our offer. Think on it and let us know. I look at the offer, I'm like, no, no. And then I remember calling my brother and telling him, these guys are offering me less than I was earning in my previous job. My brother's like, do you have a job? Like, oh, actually, I don't have a job. It's like take it and then figure it out. Yeah, so we went home, talked about it, Nini, called them back, negotiated, blah, got a better-ish offer. Yeah, and then, so I started work. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I had a friend who was working in that same company. So I call him like, hi. So I finished the interview, but it's in a fair. And he was so gracious. He gave me the fare. Yeah. You're used to taking care of yourself, taking care of your own, and now you're just like, I can't. And you didn't have, like when you quit a job, it's different. You already know. Okay, most times we'd think you know what you want to do, or you have a plan at least in around that. But when you're just told, yeah, friend, bye. Yeah, it's different. Mm. And like even in that time when I was home, I was just looking to see if there are any stories like this. And actually, it's a thing. People do get laid off just after they come back to work. And it's because most of the stories you'll see or hear is because they think now you have a child, you won't be here 100%. You have a child, you have to go for clinic. CG, your child is sick. CG, your nanny did what? We can't have that because it's affecting our bottom line. And I'm like, are we punishing women for having children? So at what point should a woman decide to have a child? Like if we need you to be there at a 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. meeting, you'll most probably say no.
After that horrible ordeal, Marcy was able to stand on her 2 feet once again and settle into her new job. With it came a few changes. First, they had to move. Her new workplace was across town, forcing her to wake up really early and come back really late, making it almost hard for her to spend any time with her baby. Luckily, her new company was pro-family, so transitioning into a fully working mom was not too hard. She was able to find the space to express and store her milk. There was also a creche as well, so parents could take their kids to work and have someone take care of them. They also gave her the flexibility to work from home some days. And this was before COVID, before working from home was really a thing. And even if she was in the office, she could leave earlier. After some time, she got pregnant again and had a second child.
We had all those facilities I spoke about, so it was easier this time with a child and coming back to work. The thing I realized, though, is when you go on maternity leave and come back, it's different. And I don't know if it's just me, but no, it's not just because I've asked. I've had these conversations. I have had these conversations with me. Yeah. When you come back to work, it's like sometimes people don't have a plan for you or continuity. Some things you are doing, you're just like, you can't literally just pick up from where you stopped because things have, but there's a place you can come in and go on. And for a while there, it felt like there was no plan, no continuity, no nothing. So you have to like really be the one to figure it out. I had a whole team and a whole portfolio when I was going on maternity leave. I had plans on how things are going to run in my absence. I was coming back to that and to pick it up, and it wasn't there. And that felt why, and no one is explaining why the changes that happened, or like, okay, now that has happened, what were you thinking about as a business? But at least I'd say we found something to work with to a point where I was like, okay, now I can start building another team, another portfolio. So yeah, 2020, COVID hit. We are home now. We are gonna stay home, work from home, blah. I have my 2 kids. The firstborn is now a bit older. We've been doing activities kidogo kidogo at home. Nini now I'm more at home. So we start doing a little bit more and more and more and more, and gets to a point where he's ready for kindergarten, and I'm just like, no, kindergarten. I'm like, I'm not sending him to school with this COVID thing. So we continue doing whatever we're doing at home. And then at some point, I'm like, okay, this kid is growing. We've been doing things. He's been learning. He's been nini. But what are we going to do about school? And I start looking at homeschooling options, things like those. I get introduced to a few people, have those conversations. Kidogo kidogo, I'm doing a whole training.
Oh my God.
How to be a homeschooler. Yeah, kidogo, we've enrolled to school. What is your school name? Oh, we need a name. Everything. And yeah, we signed up to this school called Oaks. So it's a school, but then they also support homeschoolers. So you have to register your school with them. So you had to register with them. They train you, they give them the material, all that. And then you're put in regions, have a supervisor. Yeah, like you just can't homeschool your child in this Kenya like that. They give you a curriculum, give you like manuals to follow, like how do you teach and all that. So that's what I did. Went for training, then we registered with the school and we started our first term. So the beauty about where I work is we have different shifts because of the nature of the work that we do. We do a lot. We work on projects, so different projects have different timelines, different clients, etc. So you'll find there's some projects that are live projects, and so for those ones we need to work at a particular time when the client is also working, etc. And then there are some that are not. So we have like a 24-hour thing. So based on the projects you're working on, then there are times you need to work. So I told my boss, my manager, it's like, yeah, so now I said this thing. I'm homeschooling and I'd like to move my shifts. I've looked at my projects, I've looked at my team, my portfolio, blah, blah, blah. And I think I can move without affecting anything too much or like anything significant. Yeah. And they're like, okay, let's try it out and see how it works out. Yeah, which is what we did. So instead of working 8 to 4, I started working 12 to 8. So that then gives me the morning to teach the kids. So in the morning, wake up, devotion, blah, breakfast, and then we start school. So our school starts anywhere between 8:30 and 9. So that's when our school starts. And then we'll do school until 12:30. So in between, of course, there are breaks and stuff. But 12:30, they break for the day. And anything they do in the afternoon would be like activities. So I'd make sure I'd set up those up before so that when they're going to work, then they do the activities with the nanny. But at least I know what they're doing and it's in line with what we have learned during the day. So it's just reinforcing what we've learned. And then from 12 or 12:30, depending on the day, I start my job. So I start my job at that time and I'll work all the way until like 8 p.m. Sometimes longer because is 8 to 5 ever 8 to 5?
Never really is. No, it's not.
Yeah. So depending on the day, but they balance each other out at the end of the day, right? Because there are days where you'll work till 8, there are days you'll work till 12, there are days you'll work till 7, till 4. So it just depends on plus projects. Yeah. So my second child is not yet in school. So for him, he's in school, not in school.
Okay, so he's there.
He's not yet started yet. Yeah. So our firstborn is the one who's actually almost done with grade 1. He'll be joining grade 2 in January. And that's when probably your secondborn will be joining kindergarten. Yeah. So, but with our son, what we've found, let me put it this way: what you pay for a term in a mid-level school is what we pay in a year. Yeah, in terms of fees. But the additional costs that come with homeschooling, such as you have to buy the supplies yourself. If it's the what are they called, extracurricular activities, so like our son drums, so you have to pay for that. There's swimming, you have to pay for that. So I think that those are also like other costs outside of the actual just school that you incur as a homeschooler. Yeah, the trips, the nini. Yeah, so those ones can add up pretty fast. Yeah. Yeah, so like I told you, when you enroll your school to that school, you're put in regions. So in the different regions, you meet as homeschoolers, and your kids also meet. So we have sports day like any other school. We have open days. We have all these things that other traditional schools have. So yes, they do meet, and then we also have like competitions like swimming galas, like all that. The kids get to do all that, and then depending on the region that you're in, there's a requirement for at least meet once per month minimum. So depending on the region that you're in, you guys decide will want to meet weekly. So every Friday the kids will meet, and they'll be playing together, or they'll be learning together, or they'll be doing whatever together. And or we'll just meet for the trips. So if you're going to the museum, to the railway, to the you'll go together. So yes, they get to meet with people in their region, and then now we have one where we meet all of us together, like the open days and the closing days, where we are competing against each other in regions. So this is region A, B, C, and you're competing against each other. Yeah, so they get that. And the thing about homeschooling is you can also have like a tutor come in and teach your kids from home on every subject, or on the subjects where you feel don't think I'm well able to teach my kids on this excuse me, particular subject. Yeah. Is it an option I personally would take? No. I'm just like, if they're homeschooled, then I'm gonna do it. At whatever point we decide we can't homeschool them anymore, let's take them to school. For us and for them right now, I think homeschool is the best option for us. If that were to ever change, yeah, they can always go to school. Plus, I mean, things like even like music school, we don't do that at home. He does it in our school. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to them going to a school. I think it's just there's a level of grounding that only a parent can do. Yeah. I feel like, and it's not to bash anyone, I feel like there are some things that as parents we have over delegated to nannies, to teachers, to sijui who, that we should come back and take up. Like I know we are all hustling in this Nairobi. But I believe it's a place of intentionality when it comes to raising our children. Yeah. There are things that you can only teach them when they're young. Yeah. That at later stages of life, you can't really teach. You only reinforce what you taught them. So if you have nothing to start or a basis to correct or whatever, they just be like, yeah, you're not an authority in my life. You're my parent, but you're not an authority in my life. And I don't think I should value what you're saying, because all along it's been teacher, or it's been nanny, or it's been, yeah. So I think homeschooling may not work for everyone. No, no, no. I was not homeschooled. It may not work for everyone, but I think what I'm saying is just be intentional in passing values to your children that are intrinsic values for you and your family. Yeah. So
Before we wrapped up, I asked Mercy what she was looking forward to in her journey.
that's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. And I say that because I think over time, I've met, I wouldn't say versions of myself, but different aspects of who Mercy is, right? And like, for example, for the longest time, I used to say, I can't draw to save my life. Let me tell you, and I'll even show you that photo when we finish this podcast. I drew PJ masks, friends.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Wow.
but I had a gun to my head. My son was like, "You have to draw it now." I'm just like, I don't know how to draw PJ masks. But I drew, and you can tell this is PJ, all those characters. Yeah, and that came because we started drawing together with them. And over time, like on Saturday mornings, we'll sit and draw and color and paint and all that. And I realized, oh, wow, I can actually draw. It's not, now I'll be the next Picasso selling my pieces. No. But this is an aspect that I didn't know existed. I wrote a whole book, friends. Like, I have a book. The book is a children's devotional book. Yeah, so it just not just. It's about, my sister will be on my case. What do you mean it's just? It's not just. It's a book that helps children learn about their identity and about who God says they are. So yeah, it's a book about that, about who God says we are, and just getting them grounded in that. Because in the world that we're living in today, you can get your identity from so many things, but there will be false identities. The only person who really knows your identity and can help you grow into who you actually are is God. And so I was like, let's start them early. Train up a child in the way that they should grow, Yeah, so my identity. I am who God says I am. You can follow us on Being and Becoming on IG. Yeah, Being and Becoming on IG. It will also be up on my website soon. I had I have a blog, but I want to make it like a proper website now. Now I've said this on the podcast.
It's like
Yes.
other people will
Yeah. Because I've been saying I'm gonna put it there. But yeah, you can find it there. I'll also send you another link on another store you can be able to find it on. Yeah. Being and Becoming. Yeah. Being and Becoming. Yeah. It's about who we are and the journey to become. Yeah. So yeah.
What's your journey? So you're rediscovering this.
Yeah, I'm rediscovering. So it's different things. It's also like, because of the homeschooling, we had a whole camp in August for kids to enjoy outdoor learning. And again, you can find us on AG at the Outdoor Fortress. So it's many things, Sally. It's just like, wow. Yeah. So just, again, the just. Yeah. So it's getting to explore different aspects of myself. Yeah, when it comes to work, when it comes to personal life, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to pursuing things that I didn't even know make me so happy, like the Outdoor Fortress. It was so much fun. Yeah. And yeah, so the future is, I'd say, bright, and it's a place where I'm allowing God to show me who I am and to be able to explore everything I am. Now I understand what Miles Monroe meant when he said he wants to die empty. Because there are so many things that God has locked up in us. And sometimes we go through this life hustling 8 to 5, paying bills, meeting, but you never live out and be the gift that God called you to be to the world.
I want to thank Mercy Mandela for sharing her vulnerable moments with us. I will leave details to where you can find her and her work in the show notes of this episode. Next week, we tackle grief. How do you talk to your kids about death? To answer this, we will hear from a mom who has decided to take this issue head on. So watch out for that. Before I go, remember that there are many ways you can contribute to the growth and success of this podcast. Listening to these episodes is one of the best ways of supporting this podcast. I appreciate you for that. If you enjoyed an episode, you can share it with a friend or two or even 10. And if you'd like to take your support even a little bit further, consider donating to the show. Think about it like buying me a hot cup of dawa to keep me company as I edit these episodes. Your support means a lot to me and I will be forever grateful. All right, catch you in the next one. Bye.